Alright, what is going on, guys? So, welcome to today's stream. Um, so yeah, as you saw by the title and you saw by the thumbnail, we're gonna be, I'm just trying to listen to the audio, make sure it's good. So, um, it's okay, it's not that bad. I need something to watch to make this better. But, I'm just seeing if it's good. I guess I don't know. But, okay, off with that. We're just gonna be looking at this storm system right here, this low pressure that will be in this, should be in the position as the models are hinting at by this time Friday. By early Friday morning, should be in that area, somewhat in that general zone. And then we have a general idea it's gonna probably take like more of a southern track, may end up even in the Gulf of Mexico, which would bring an it's a tricky forecast debate where the storm is, but after it gets to this point, it could go either way. As you saw by the thumbnail, it could go right up the coast, deliver a nice snowstorm to New England, or it can go directly out to sea, which is what some models are hinting at. So, this is the GFS depiction, this is GFS, and keep an eye on the low right here to see where it goes. You can see it'll keep moving along, and you can see a big swath of rain over Texas, which is going to be a ton of rain across this area in Texas. And then you look at Oklahoma, and you can see some areas in Oklahoma, most areas in Oklahoma are going to be rain to start it off. It all depends on how fast this changeover goes from rain to snow, or if that even happens. So, so you can see here, we go another one. This is early Saturday morning. And you can see snow across the panhandle of Texas and parts of Oklahoma, while a mix of sleet and freezing rain across a portion of Oklahoma into Arkansas and a little bit of Missouri. And we keep going. This is just the GFS, what it shows, and then it shows to end snow in Oklahoma, Arkansas, Kansas, and a little bit of Missouri. And you can see heavy rains continue for the south. And then once it gets to here, it's way too early to predict because this is towards the Sunday time frame. You can see the GFS wants to bring some pretty heavy snows here. And the Euro does too. It wants to bring extremely heavy snows, actually. Like, it wants to bring some areas in, like, right next to the Appalachians to get close to 3 feet of snow. This is just GFS, and you can see snow continues throughout the day, Saturday into Monday. And you can see Nashville, for the GFS, you're right on that line between rain and snow. May end with a little bit of snow there in Nashville. GFS doesn't have you guys getting much of anything. And you can see maybe even some end of snow into portions of Georgia. That would be awesome. So, and then once it goes here, as I said, it could either draw it out. This storm right here could either go right up the coast, hug the coast, and go that way. And GFS brings it like somewhat like that and goes out to sea. Yeah, it does something like the second one and brings it out to sea. Somewhat like that, and northeast gets much of nothing. So it's very tricky forecast to determine where exactly the snow. We're mainly confident in some accumulating snow across this area, Texas and Oklahoma. Oklahoma City, you guys are right on the line. You guys could get something, or maybe nothing. It's just depends on how much cold air gets locked in, because I'll have to get a different color for this. I'm sorry about this. But there's a high pressure sitting here. And the high is doing is taking in cold air from Canada And, oops. Oh, sorry about that. But the high is taking in some cold air from Canada and funneling it down this way. So the high is circulating cold air from Canada down into this area. It all depends on how much cold air is in and if we can lock the cold air in. And if the cold air gets there right as the storm's there, it'll mainly be a rain event. But if this high moves faster with colder air getting circulated into this to this region, I'll try to circle out. I'm only circling this area because it's the area we're most confident in. If cold air can go in this area faster, then it will mainly be a snow event. It all depends on how much snow, how much cold air will get locked in. But with this storm right here, it's what's known as the wedge, as we like to refer to. The high is going to be right here. This is what's going to be having the Northeast mainly dry. The GFS has the high really slow. Well, if the European model has it pretty slower. So yeah, some models have the high here, which if this were to happen, it would be greater snows for the Appalachians and stuff, because it would be taking a ton of cold air from Canada, funneling it down, and it's what's known as the wedge. If you live in the South, you know what that's called. It'll go and just basically just put a ton of cold air in, which would keep this a mainly snow event. Supposed to get up to 3 to 8 inches. Yeah, that's possible. It depends on where you are too. Like if you're closer to the Appalachians and stuff, there'll be more. And this is all definitely going to be changing throughout the days. Very early forecast. I'll start making the snow maps probably by. Well, I'll start making snow maps tomorrow or Thursday for the Oklahoma and Texas panhandles and much of Oklahoma. Yeah, that's basically what it's gonna be doing. Snow, or rain, or mix. Saturday, Tuesday, yeah. Some areas in North Carolina could see a mainly snow event, and with this storm, elevation will play a huge role, because if this high pressure doesn't get here fast enough, it'll mainly be, an elevation, or a mountain's snow, which would mean the lower elevations would get mainly rain, while the higher elevations would get a few inches of snow. So I'll draw scenario 1 out. Scenario 1 would be this low pressure, not that. Oops. Scenario 1 would be the low pressure coming up the coast and taking somewhat of a track, like right on the benchmark, as we like to refer to it. It's like right on the benchmark, which would either mean a ton of snow. If it moves more to the west, it would mean more snow for areas of southern New England. If it moves south, it would mean less. But if it takes like some sort of some sort of track on the benchmark, it would mean, that wouldn't determine the fate for North Carolina. We'll get there in a second. But it would determine the fate for New England, which, scenario 1, I'll draw a line real quick. It would have this area would be mainly snow to rain event, while this area would get a ton of snow, maybe a plowable event of 6+ inches, while this area would get less than 3 inches or something, let's just say. But for North Carolina and stuff, if it takes a more southern track and goes out towards the sea, that would be more of a favorable sort of track for some snow, because then the high would be there, and if it goes out to sea, either way they're gonna get a little bit of snow at least. It would basically the wraparound from the ending of the storm would bring in colder air, and it would end as snow. So if you didn't start as snow, you could end as snow. But if the load, and this determines the area for like the beaches of the Carolinas, north and south. If it takes like some sort of a track like this and then goes out to sea like that, it's all going to be rain, and it will be a mainly rain event for much of North Carolina because it'll be way too close to the coast, bringing in the warm Atlantic air. But if it takes a track somewhat like this and goes more out to sea and then goes up the coast, that'd mean a more favorable environment for some snow, maybe even to portions of Georgia, but it would mean a more favorable event for some snow right here. So there could be a pretty good swath of snow if this second scenario right here, if that second scenario happened, it would mean a much more favorable environment, so to say, for some snow. So yeah, let's take a look at some of the GFS accumulation for snow. Move this back. Take a look at what the GFS is showing for some snow. Snowfall. And this is just one model, what it's showing. I'll show you guys the Canadian model. The Canadian model usually overdoes stuff a lot. So don't get too hooked on the Canadian model or what that one says. Because that one's, it's sometimes right, but it usually overdoes stuff a lot. So yeah, we'll play this out for the snowfall, what the GFS shows. We'll just hit the play button. Here we go. And then here comes the storm. We'll stop this. And you can see the GFS doesn't bring too much snow to Oklahoma area. Maybe some areas getting up around 6 inches. And then some areas in Texas picking up 7, 8 inches of snow. And then we get into North Carolina. You can already see a little bit of this green shading come up. Which, if that were to happen, that would be over a foot of snow already for parts of North Carolina. And then the GFS is really heavy on the snow. We'll just play this all the way through. Where's the region? We'll take a look at that area in North Carolina. Alright. There we go. Because the GFS has well, it's not as heavy as the European model, but it shows even some snow into South Georgia. I mean, not South Georgia, into Georgia. Some even approaching into South Carolina. This big bullseye into Virginia and in North Carolina shows a big bullseye, possibly up to 2 feet of snow. If that were to happen, and it's still a possibility, not the most likely scenario, and the GFS takes it off the coast in like that second track, which could even bring a little bit of snow to the beaches. You could see a few flakes if this were to happen. Not much accumulation around the Outer Banks and stuff, but you can see this area, big bullseye of over 1.5 to 2 feet of snow, and even some of these areas, elevation will play a huge role, as I said, could pick up over 2 feet of snow. The European model, I'll draw a swath of what the European model shows. It shows a huge swath, and you can see even in Nashville, the GFS shows a little bit of snow, maybe a couple of inches. The European model has a huge, that was wrong, oops, a pretty big swath of snow coming for a little portion of North Carolina, mainly into Virginia. In this area, right there, it's showing 3 feet or more of snow. Even though the European models are a most reliable model, I'm not really believing that. If it's still showing it by the day before that, I will start to believe that. But right now, it's Tuesday, the storm's not coming for another, we're still like 6 days out, 5-6 days out from the storm, so don't get any hopes up if you're in the areas with 2 feet of snow. If it keeps showing that day after day, then you could start getting like worried or excited. Right now, it's way too early to pinpoint details, so don't get too caught up on numbers. So here's the snowfall prediction. This is day 1. So We'll just try that real quick. This is for over an inch of snow. Trying to just see some stuff here. I haven't used this in so long, so bear with me. Yeah, as I said, I haven't used this in a pretty good amount of time. Since last winter, I haven't used it. Alright, gonna work? Awesome. There we go. Alright, so here we go. The day doesn't really matter because that's not really right. But, the main thing is, oops. Here we go into Oklahoma and Texas area. This is for over an inch of snow. You can see this area has about, I'm pretty sure this is like 50% chance of, over an inch of snow. And then we go to over 2 inches of snow. It's still pretty good right in that bullseye, about 50%. And then we go to 4 inches of snow, it's going to be a lot lower. And you can see this area, that's about 35% chance. You could see Oklahoma City actually right on the line between a 5 and 10. So not really a big deal. Well, not really a big thing to get excited about. Then we go to 6 inches. You could see 10% chance of over 6 inches of snow here. And then we go over 8 inches of snow. You can see this is a very low chance, but it's not zero chance. And then we go to a foot of snow, this little speck. So no one's as what this is saying, no one is gonna get a foot of snow over a foot of snow. And then we go to 18 inches, and there's just no one getting 18 inches except for this little area in New Mexico that could. But that's basically it for this stream, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching. Stay safe out there. More updates to come. Stay safe.